What's up, everybody? This is Jimmy with Trading Decoded. It is December 16th, 2024. We are halfway through the last month of the year. We got a lot of movement in the chart today, but and volume was good and volatility was not. Contracts were not moving very much at all, even when the chart was moving. And then shortly after 11 o'clock, 10:45, SPY started to go sideways. Nothing was selling off. Nothing was running up. And then when the chart started to chop up a little bit, again, the contracts were not moving much. There was only two trades that we took today, or that I took. Both were puts. The second one was way more comfortable than the first. But we had good justifications for both. That said, wasn't the greatest day to trade. Again, we had volume was up. Everything looked fine, except the contracts were super cheap and not moving much. So on a move that would have provided a nice, decent return, didn't return as much as it normally does. And a lot of people get stuck in that situation when that happens because they say, oh my God, we just moved 20, 30, 40 cents and I'm only up a lot less than normal. And because of that, they want to hold on to their trades longer, hoping for the return that they want instead of the return that they got. And that's how we get in trouble. For me, I took two very specific trades and made a couple bucks. And so did a lot of people in our community right now. We're rocking a 4-to-1 win-loss ratio. So good job to you guys. Also, guys, please like, share, and subscribe to my channel. I'd appreciate it. And another thing I want to let you guys know before we get too far into the video, because you don't make it to the end, is the dividend video series that I'm going to make. I'm going to start it the week between Christmas and New Year's, which I will explain why I'm doing what I'm doing, how I expect it to work, and I'm using my own money to determine if everybody who told me I'm an idiot is right or wrong. Currently, I started this account with, we'll call it $31,848. And right now, if I were to liquidate it, I could sell it for $48,000. That's a 50% return on these high yield monthly paying dividend stocks only. So it is working. Does it work forever? I don't know. I'll show you guys all the numbers, all of my positions, and everything like that throughout that series. But just know that it's coming. With that said, let's go ahead and take a look at the chart and see what we played and why. And to start this morning, we had a pre-market range that was slow moving. We got above it a little bit. Our call line was, because we were opening down here, was if we got above 605.98, we'd be hoping for at least 606.22. And as you can see, it ran right up to our first target high. It happened way too quick. At the same time, Qs were breaking a line of resistance, because the other caveat was we wanted the Qs to be above their pre-market high. And the only problem I had with that was, as you guys could see, well, maybe you can't see, but this blue pre-market high line here was also all-time highs. Every line above this that I drew was made up lines, meaning they're lines that were created from math. And as you could see, again, we were opening at all-time highs, and these lines were here at 8:30, an hour before the market opened. Look at how well they still got rejected. We get through, we run up to the next one. We come back, support, reject, through to the next one. Turned it into support, to the next one, down to support. It's kind of crazy how these things work out. Now, I stopped drawing them because, well, we just chopped up for the majority of today. But long and short of it is, these lines work, even if we haven't ever met them before. Doesn't make me feel comfortable about trading while we're up here. I have to make that very clear. It's not that I have a problem with the market going up. It's that when we're at all-time highs, I like to know where I'm going to run into some sellers. Again, this had never been tested prior to today. So I didn't know if it was going to hold or not. If I did, obviously, I would know exactly when to get in and get out of my trades. So when Qs are making all-time highs, especially Qs or SPY. I just don't feel comfortable going to places we haven't yet been before. I'd much rather buy pullbacks, looking for the resistance we just came from, and vice versa, okay? Now, what I'm hoping for today is that at some point the Qs start to sell off a little bit, not because I want the Qs to sell off or I don't believe that they have any reason to be up here. It's because I want to be able to have levels to aim for that have been tested tomorrow in our charting, okay? Now, with that said, what we were looking at, or what I was looking at for puts, albeit aggressively, Qs moved up to resistance. They were struggling to move higher. I recognized that they were at resistance, although everything in the top 10 at the time was green. So this was a counter trend trade, albeit we haven't really made any patterns yet. But SPY was hitting resistances up here as well, especially after that big selling candle right there. Told everybody, guys, might be a good time to consider puts here. Don't know how long it's going to last, but the beauty was that ADD at the time was selling off. So I was hoping that between ADD going down, Qs being at resistance, SPY being at resistance, that we could squeeze a little bit of juice out of this trade. Now, what I was aiming for was the Qs to come back down to our put line here. As you could see, they didn't do that. So we got into this trade. We were hitting the pink line, struggling to get through. The whole time we were struggling here. SPY was struggling to move lower. I was reminding people every time, guys, Qs are struggling to get down to that line. Get yourself out of this trade with the profits that you may have at this point. You know, don't let this turn into a losing trade, okay? If we can't go down after several attempts, eventually it's going to go up. Okay, we're hitting a bunch of buyers. We're hitting a bunch of buyers, and the orders keep filling. The orders keep filling, and Qs keep moving up. They did that all day today. So I myself got out of this at 937 because I was giving Qs, hopefully, allowing them to move lower. They wouldn't do it. ADD started to print to the upside or stop moving down, so I didn't want to hold it any longer. Got out of this trade. Made a little bit of a profit. Basically got my goal for the day. But was hoping for more. We hold support here all day. As we start to chop up, again, I'm having an issue with all-time highs on the Qs. It's not, we were talking about this the whole time. I'm a human being. I know what I'm comfortable with, what I'm not comfortable with. I am not promoting puts at this time. I'm telling everybody, guys, we're on an uptrend on the Qs. ADD is starting to recover to the upside. SPY is starting to trend up. We should be looking for reasons to get calls. I couldn't find one that I was comfortable with, so there was no calls that I was willing to take, so there's no up arrows on this chart. However, to the downside, again, looking for specific moves, waited for specific setups before we got into this. We were calling for puts, or at least I was telling people I'm going to be buying puts when the Qs they're coming off lower highs at 1013. I said they're coming off lower highs over here at 1009, again at 1013. I'm going to go ahead and assume that the lower highs means we're going to break this support, okay, right here. And I'm hoping that it runs down to the next support, which is right here. So I recognized it was a counter trend trade. I was getting in aggressively because lower highs means bad for calls, and it usually means we're going to break supports. Believe at the same time, Qs was also selling off. So we had, ADD was selling off. So we had ADD moving down. You had SPY also breaking the uptrend. We got in at 1014. SPY was at a pullback during a downtrend coming off lower highs. It had already broken its uptrend. It was coming. We're assuming it's going to break this support. We're looking for it to come down to the next support. So for me, this was based on the Qs coming off lower highs, ADD already selling off, SPY breaking its uptrend. For all intents and purposes, this move was ripe for a continuation to the downside. How far? I don't know. I was aiming for the very solid support that was here, both on SPY and the Qs. So I was looking for this to come down to this line, the last support that it made during a pullback. So we got in 1014, got out when it got down to that support. That was it for me. Some people held on a little bit longer because ADD was still moving down. Kudos to them. They got to make a larger return than I did, but that was my second and final trade of the day. It's also the last one that we took. I know you're looking at this big move to the upside. You're saying, Jimmy, but what about all that space to the upside? You could have taken it just as long as you make sure you get through resistances first, but knowing where your next resistance is key. If there's not enough room between resistance A and resistance B, it's not worth it to me. Okay. Once we got up there and we got into this range here, we started to trade sideways, and it's just a money loser here. Now, for anybody who was in calls, this may have paid. I don't know. I don't know because I stopped looking. And the reason I stopped looking was because I was at lunch, for one. And for two, when we came back from lunch, we all recognized, somebody asked me, Jimmy, how do you know when it's a chart worth not trading? Meaning, when should you not trade? I said, well, if volume is not good or volatility is low, those are two signs you don't want to trade. If the chart's not moving up or down, you don't want to take a trade. But take a look at your contract prices, guys. You don't have to pay anything. Just look at them. If SPY moves up 10 or 20 cents and your contracts only gain 2% in value, it's not a good time to consider a trade. Not only that, later in the day, theta is increasing. So that 2% win could still be a loss because of theta. So you got to be very, very careful and cognizant of what's going on, not just on the chart. The chart could be looking like it's paying you, but the Greeks may be not paying you and volatility may not be paying you. Okay. So all of this here was a losing proposition. This here, maybe you could have made money. I'm not sure. I wasn't looking at this point. Now this sell-off, as it became more aggressive, would have been a winning trade for sure, right? But are you getting confluence with the Qs? Is the Qs selling off? They are. Making lower highs, lower lows. As you can see, I stopped with the lines because, well, we were done a long time ago. But nonetheless, that's it. Okay, so today wasn't the greatest day. It was a winning day in the community. If you're still out there trading, I wish the best of luck to you. When the contracts aren't moving, it's very uncomfortable to trade. Hopefully tomorrow brings us a nice chart with some volatility, with some movement, so we can make some easier money. And that's pretty much it. So we're going to wrap it up for the day. I hope you found some useful information in this video. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe. If you'd like to join our Discord community, there's a link down below. We'd love to have you. We got big changes coming up. I know you guys keep hearing me say it, but I'm going to keep reminding you because, well, they're coming. It must be 350. No, it's 355. Got a book coming out near the end of this year. I know we're near the end already, but we're real close. And some other things that are in the pipes. But thank you guys for watching. Till tomorrow, I hope you had a fantastic day. I love you guys.